Mobile phones are everywhere, and now they're completely integrated with our everyday lives. But what if I were to tell you that your phone could take your training to the next level? It could keep you training consistently, it could warn you of impending illness or injury, and it could advise you so that you can make the best and most informed decision every session, week in, week out. Because that's not a technology that's coming, it's a technology backed by science that's already here. And you know, ultimately, the whole aim of this channel, the whole reason that I set it up and I do what I do is so that you are able to eventually be your own coach, that you won't need people like me. I'm trying to empty my knowledge out of my head and give it to you so that you can improve your training, feel more confident, and help yourself get out there. And this video is no different, but it started as something very different when I came up with the idea for it a couple of weeks ago. So to get you up to speed to where we're at now, I need to take you back to the start, not the finish. Or, actually more accurately, the Dutch. And it starts with a man called Wim Hof. Now you might remember that I'm quite fond of the odd 30-day experiment to see what impacts my training. I've done 30 days without sugar, 30 days not knowing whether I was drinking caffeine or not, 30 days of yoga, 30 days of running every day. And when Mary bought me Wim Hof's book for Christmas, I thought maybe I'd revisit this cold shower idea. The way Wim explains it is that within 10 to 15 days it should bring your resting heart rate down by strengthening your vascular muscles. That is to say, the blood vessel's ability to control your body temperature by constricting and dilating. That means you're asking less of the heart and allowing it to beat less per minute. But I was going to need a reliable and consistent way of recording the results. However, what started out as an experiment in cold showers and heart rate turned into a deeper question about what our heart can actually tell us. Monday now, so go with me on this because what I'm going to do is take you through the week with me, and the way that I've decided that I'm going to track my heart rate is by using an app called HRV for training, and it's a long, convoluted, pretty pointless story about how I happened upon this, but essentially I'm using it now, and I woke up this morning and it told me that if I was planning an intense day, an intense session, to dial it back, and if I was planning an easy session, then perhaps don't train at all. I was planning an intense session, so I'm dialing it back, but I'm not just relying on the app without knowing anything about it. I wanted to know the science behind it so that A, I could get it right in my head, and B, I could pass it over to you. So the first thing I did last week was I contacted the creator of the app, Marco Altini, on Twitter and said, "Do you fancy coming on my podcast and having a chat?" Secretly just hoping that he'd be able to explain it a little bit easier to me rather than me have to read through a lot of stuff. He's the man that created it, right? And that's exactly what he did. So I'm actually going to go for an easy bike session later today, and I'm going to fill you in on the science behind the HRV4 training app and why I think it's going to really help me be a more consistent, less injured athlete. And as I sat on the turbo for my base hour, I reflected that something that started out as an experiment into my resting heart rate quickly changed into wanting to learn the science behind and real-world application of heart rate variability. But I needed to know more, so I had a chat with the creator of the app, Marco Altini. And go check out my podcast Fitness Freaks for a much more in-depth chat with Marco. But if I were to sum up what heart rate variability is and how we can use it in our training, it's this. Firstly, the actual measurement is relatively simple to take. You just go into the app, click take measurement, and hold your finger over the phone camera for about a minute, and it cleverly picks up the pulse running through your finger. So when relaxed, your heart beats erratically. For example, if you said that your resting heart rate was 60 beats per minute, it won't beat once per second. It might be every 1.1 second for a while and then 0.8 seconds and so on. And that's okay. It means your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous systems are balanced and you're relaxed. But when we get stressed from training or life, then the sympathetic nervous system, which sometimes is known as fight or flight, dominates, and our heart beats in a more regular and less relaxed pattern. And that is what the app looks for, signs of stress. And it also takes into account things that a heart rate measurement can't, like how you feel. So you answer a few questions on the app, and then it suggests a course of action. And it is scientifically proven. They even experimented. In fact, they took two groups of athletes who were all around the same ability, and they asked one group of athletes to follow the advice of the app, and they asked the other group to ignore and go on how they feel. And what happened at the end of the period of time that they were tested was that the athletes who took the advice of the app to, if they were doing a really intense session, dial it down, or if they were doing an easy session, perhaps miss it, they still made bigger gains at the end of the training period than those that ignored the advice and trained on regardless. And that, to me, says a lot, that they're relying and trusting in science, and they're even taking days off, but it's doing the right thing for them. That was what I was fascinated about, and it was something that I wanted to see if it would work for myself. So moving on to Tuesday, it was the perfect time to experiment on this because my HRV wasn't playing ball. It's day 2 of training. It's Tuesday in the week, and I've just done my heart rate this morning on my phone, and it tells me again that my numbers are trending negatively, and perhaps that if I was planning an intense session, to dial it back. And so that's exactly what I was going to do, because I was umming and ahhing about whether I do a VO2 max session or not, and I have decided I'm going to take it nice and easy, because it's all very well me feeling okay, which I do, but I want to be a more consistent trainer. So out on the run I go.
And this is your classic case in point, because here I am out on a Tuesday, and on Sunday I had a choice between possibly doing a higher intensity session like VO2 max or taking it easy, and I was going to see how I felt during the week. But this morning, as you already saw, what I was suggested, because of my heart rate variability, is that I'm on a negative trend and I should take it easier rather than push at this point. And you know, it is a bit of experimentation and it is a bit of trust. And so I'm out on this really lovely, easy run with Ad and Winnie, and we're just having a great time, having a chat, having a catch up, and I'm feeling like it's really good for the soul anyway. So getting muddy. Yeah, getting muddy. I'm going to come out with so many different benefits because I listened to the app and it overrode my ego.
And it's Wednesday now, and almost as if it was meant to happen, I woke up this morning and I did the HRV4 training heart rate test, and it suggested that based on what I'm feeling and what my heart rate variation or my heart rate variability is doing, I should either scale my training right back or consider not training at all. And I've been umming and ahhing all day, and it's one of those where I was keen to train still, and I actually think I could have hit a tempo session, but the longer the day went on, the more able I was to kind of dig underneath my ego and think, actually, I am pretty knackered. But at this point, my training doesn't change. My training is so steady and stable. I do 4 1-hour sessions with some strength and conditioning scattered in through the week, and I do my longer sessions at the weekend. It's just when I take my rest, I guess. And this, on a Wednesday, is telling me, even though I was scheduling my rest for Friday, that maybe I should take my rest today. So that's it. No training today, day off. Hasta mañana. I gotta tell you, I am absolutely buzzing today. This has really been revelationary for me. This is one of the best decisions I've ever made. Because yesterday I could have gone on this bike here and I could have tried a tempo session and probably would have lacked the quality, or I could have done a base session and I just felt tired. So I did what the app suggested. I took a down day and I've woken up this morning just feeling brilliant. And the app has corroborated how I feel, and it says, good to train, good to go. Really what I'm saying is that no one session is critical. The session yesterday wasn't critical to do yesterday, and that was okay. But it was critical to do, so I've jumped on the turbo today, and I'm feeling just in so much of a better place to be able to knock this tempo session out of the park. And that's what this is really all about, isn't it? It's learning to be that steady Eddie, learning to get things done no shooting star, no trying to smash sessions out the park, when maybe your body's not in the right place, or maybe when it's not the right place in the training block. I'm just so happy that I've been able to add this app as another tool to the toolbox. It is not something I rely on only that, but it's definitely a tool. Now excuse me while I smash this session. And once again, I'm going to be guided by the science. It's Friday now. It was originally my rest day, if you'll remember, but I've moved that to Wednesday so that I can exercise on Friday. And I woke up this morning and I tested the app. And what it tells me is, hopefully that just appeared, is that everything is normal, all of my parameters are normal, and it's good to train as I normally would. And today, I had planned to do a tempo session. The app tells me that I can do that, and I feel in a decent place. The only thing I've got to monitor is my hip. And I'm going to take the Hoka Carbon X2s out to see how they deal with a little bit of pace when it's injected. Let's do it.
I just had to share this with you. It's such a lovely day. It's Friday, and I have a feeling the weather's about to turn, so needed to share it. That's it. Friday session done. We've only got the long stuff to come over the weekend, and I am feeling pretty good about myself.
It's Saturday now, and these are the kind of big sessions that I have to get done if I want to be ready for my Ironman and marathon. But fortunately, I've woken up this morning and my heart rate variability suggests that I'm good to go. I am on the lower end, but it still says that I'm fine to train. And usually what I'll see is the dip after the two big sessions. So Monday and Tuesday, it'll probably tell me to dial it back. But I have a 4-hour bike session to do indoors on the turbo. Crushingly boring, but absolutely necessary. I need to jump on the turbo, otherwise I'm going to be late.
I'm over an hour in now onto my 4-hour bike. Feeling good, feeling all right, and I've been able to reflect a little bit on a lot of things really. And the first thing is that this app, it takes into account life stress. So not just training stress, life stress. Life stress can be as stressful, if not more stressful than training stress sometimes. And to take that into account, to take feel into account, to me that just feels really important. So, you know, I've been guided this week by the app, but I haven't been led by it in terms of it makes my pure decisions. Just helps me make a more informed decision. If I woke up in the morning and I felt really, really good, and yet my heart rate variability was telling me to back off, the app suggests that you could back off or you could train because of your subjective scores, and you can then make that decision as well. So that's why I like it really. It gives you the ownership still, it gives you the power, but it just gives you more information to make those decisions, those informed decisions.
Okay, well that was really grim, but that's one more session down, one more in the bank. Let's wrap this thing up. And that right there, in a nutshell, was my week, with the exception of the half marathon that I'm doing tomorrow, and I didn't film last week. But you get the picture, you get what I've been doing and when. So let me just talk quickly about this app and how I'm going to use it. Am I going to let it make all of my decisions for me? No. That's not the message I'm trying to put across here. What I am trying to put across is that I'm going to let it guide and inform me using the app, but also taking into account all of the other things I know as a coach and an athlete, my feel, the session type in the week that I do, and whether I change it or not is really up to me. And that leads me, I guess, to my final point, is that I'm not a big believer of the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think I've said that before. I don't get it, or I don't get the phrase, it's always worked for me, so I'll keep doing it. The thing is, science evolves, training evolves, and knowledge evolves. Everything evolves as we go through time. So when things like this crop up, this technology, this new way of looking at training, why wouldn't I take it and put it in my toolbox? I'm not saying it's going to be the thing I pin my hat on, but it's another tool in the toolbox, right? And ultimately, I guess this is one step closer to all of you watching this that aren't coaches, to being your own coach. That's the point of this. That's the point of the app. That's the point of the message. And over the next few videos, I'm going to be focusing on some things that can help you as well. We're going to focus on the elite athlete mindset and how you can foster it. Mary is going to do some benchmark runs to see where we're at and what type of work we have to do in the coming weeks and months to get her to her goals. So stay tuned for that one. That'll probably be next Sunday, snow permitting. And ultimately, I just hope that the video has brought you some value. And if it has, consider subscribing, but no hard sell from me. And here, I'm going to take a punt and let YouTube choose the video for you. It's going to suggest one. I don't know what it's going to be. And down there is the subscribe, like I say, just in case. Have a great week. I'll see you on Wednesday, then I'll see you on Sunday. Every week.